There's a confession most people won't say out loud: they don't like Christmas. Not the version where they're slightly stressed about gifts or mildly annoyed by crowds. They genuinely don't like it. The music makes them irritable, the decorations feel oppressive, the forced cheer is suffocating, and the entire season fills them with dread instead of joy. And if you're one of these people, you know the isolation that comes with it. Because everyone loves Christmas, or at least everyone says they do. So when you don't, when you'd rather skip the entire season, people look at you like you're broken, like you're the Grinch, like something fundamental is missing from your soul. But here's what most people don't understand. Not liking Christmas isn't about being cynical or joyless. It's often about something much deeper. About how you relate to forced happiness, to commercialism, to family dynamics, to sensory overwhelm, to grief. And understanding why you don't like Christmas reveals profound truths about your psychology and your needs. So why do some people dread the most wonderful time of the year? What's actually happening beneath the surface? And what does it mean when a season of joy feels like a season of endurance? Let's start with the most common reason: the performance of mandatory happiness. Christmas comes with an emotional script. You're supposed to be joyful. You're supposed to feel magical. You're supposed to love every moment. And when you don't feel those things naturally, when the season leaves you feeling empty or stressed or overwhelmed, you have to pretend. For people who don't like Christmas, this performance is exhausting. Every interaction requires fake enthusiasm. Every gathering requires manufactured cheer. You have to act excited about things you don't care about. You have to smile through activities you find draining. And that constant pretense is depleting. There's something psychologists call emotional labor, the effort required to manage and display emotions you don't actually feel. And Christmas demands enormous emotional labor from people who aren't naturally feeling festive. You're not just attending events, you're performing joy at events, and that performance takes a toll. The second reason is sensory and emotional overwhelm. Christmas assaults the senses. Loud music everywhere, flashing lights, crowded stores, constant stimulation. For people who are highly sensitive, who need quiet and calm to function, Christmas is a months-long assault on their nervous system. And it's not just sensory, it's emotional overwhelm too. The expectations, the obligations, the social commitments, the gift anxiety, the family dynamics, the financial pressure. It all compounds into this overwhelming weight that you're supposed to carry while also appearing joyful. People who don't like Christmas often describe feeling like they're drowning, like the season is too much, too loud, too demanding, and they can't find space to breathe. They're not being difficult. They're genuinely overwhelmed by the intensity of it all. The third reason is the commercialization and superficiality. For some people, Christmas has become so commercialized, so disconnected from any real meaning, that participating feels hollow. It's become about spending money you don't have on things people don't need, while corporations profit from manufactured obligation. They see through the performance. They recognize that most of the joy is surface level, that people are stressed and exhausted beneath the smiles, that the magic is mostly marketing. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Christmas stops being meaningful and starts being an elaborate commercial operation that you're expected to buy into, literally and figuratively. For these people, not liking Christmas is often about rejecting the superficiality, about refusing to participate in a system that feels fundamentally inauthentic. They'd rather have genuine connection and real meaning than forced festivity and obligatory gift exchanges. The fourth reason is painful family dynamics. For many people, Christmas means spending time with family, And when family is a source of pain, conflict, or trauma, Christmas becomes a dreaded obligation rather than a joyful reunion. Maybe your family is dysfunctional. Maybe there's unresolved conflict. Maybe being home triggers old wounds. Maybe you're the black sheep, the disappointment, the one who doesn't fit. And Christmas forces you back into those dynamics, into that role, into that pain. Or maybe your family has changed. Someone died, someone's missing, the family structure broke apart. And Christmas highlights the absence. It makes the loss unbearable because you're supposed to be celebrating while you're actually grieving. For people with complicated family relationships, Christmas isn't a holiday, it's a trial. And not liking Christmas is often about protecting yourself from emotional harm. The fifth reason is grief and loss. Christmas amplifies loss. When you've lost someone significant, when holidays used to mean something before that person was gone, the season becomes a painful reminder of absence. Every song, every tradition, every gathering highlights who's missing. And the world expects you to be happy anyway, to move on, to make new memories. But grief doesn't work on a schedule. And sometimes Christmas just hurts. It's not that you're choosing to be sad. It's that the season forces confrontation with loss in ways that everyday life doesn't. People who don't like Christmas because of grief aren't being difficult. They're protecting themselves from a season that makes their pain impossible to ignore. The sixth reason is introversion and social exhaustion. Christmas is a marathon of social obligations, parties, gatherings, events. And for introverts who need solitude to recharge, who find social interaction draining even when they enjoy it, Christmas is overwhelming. It's not one event, it's weeks of events, and you can't say no without seeming like a Grinch. So you go, and you perform, and you come home depleted, and then you have to do it again, and again, until you're running on empty, counting down the days until it's over. For introverts, not liking Christmas is often about the relentless social demand, about having no space for the quiet and solitude they need to feel like themselves. The seventh reason is religious or cultural disconnect. Christmas is a Christian holiday that's been secularized and universalized to the point where everyone's expected to celebrate regardless of their beliefs. And for people who aren't Christian, who don't celebrate for religious reasons, or who feel culturally excluded, Christmas can feel alienating. You're surrounded by a celebration that isn't yours. Your traditions are invisible. Your holidays are footnotes. And you're expected to participate anyway, to go along with Christmas, because it's just what everyone does. That erasure, that assumption, creates resentment. Not liking Christmas can be about resisting cultural dominance, about refusing to pretend you belong to something that doesn't actually include you. Let's talk about what it's actually like to not like Christmas in a world that loves it. First, there's isolation. Everyone around you is excited, and you're not. You feel alien, like you're missing something everyone else has, like you're fundamentally different in a way that makes you wrong. Second, there's pressure. People want to fix you. They want to make you like Christmas. They invite you to things hoping you'll catch the spirit. They tell you you're just not trying hard enough. They act like your dislike is a problem they need to solve. Third, there's guilt. You know people love Christmas. You know your lack of enthusiasm disappoints them. You know you're supposed to participate for the kids, for tradition, for family. So you feel guilty for not feeling what you're supposed to feel. And fourth, there's relief when it's over. The moment December 26th arrives, you can breathe again. The pressure lifts. The obligations end. And you have 11 months before you have to do it all again. Here's what people who don't like Christmas need others to understand. Your feelings are valid. You're not broken. You're not the Grinch. You're someone who doesn't connect with this particular cultural phenomenon, and that's okay. You don't owe anyone Christmas spirit. You don't have to love what everyone else loves. You don't have to pretend to feel something you don't feel. Your discomfort, your overwhelm, your grief, your disconnection, whatever the reason, it's legitimate. What helps is honesty and boundaries. If you don't like Christmas, say so. Not in a way that ruins it for others, but in a way that protects yourself. I'm not really into Christmas can be enough. You don't need to justify or explain unless you want to. Set boundaries around participation. Maybe you'll do some things but not others. Maybe you'll show up briefly but leave early. Maybe you'll skip certain traditions that feel particularly painful or draining. You get to choose your level of engagement. Find alternative ways to spend the season if you want them. Maybe you travel, maybe you volunteer, maybe you have a quiet day to yourself, maybe you celebrate something else entirely. The season doesn't have to look like everyone else's season to be valid. And release the guilt. You're not ruining Christmas by not loving it. Other people can have their joy. You can have your boundaries. Both things can coexist. For people who love Christmas and can't understand not liking it, here's what you need to know. Not everyone experiences this season the way you do. For some, it's joyful. For others, it's painful. For others, it's just exhausting. Don't try to convince people to like Christmas. Don't force participation. Don't make people feel broken for not feeling the magic. Respect that their relationship to this season is different from yours. And if you want to include them, ask what would feel good instead of assuming. Here's the deeper truth. Christmas has become so laden with expectation, so commercialized, so emotionally demanding, that it's not surprising some people reject it. The pressure to be joyful, to be grateful, to be connected, to be generous, all at once, for weeks, is enormous. And when you add in the sensory overwhelm, the family complications, the grief, the financial stress, the social exhaustion, Christmas stops being a holiday and becomes an ordeal. Not for everyone, but for many. Not liking Christmas doesn't mean you're cynical or joyless. It means the way Christmas is practiced in our culture doesn't work for you. The ritual doesn't serve you. The expectations don't fit you, and that's not a flaw in you. That's a mismatch between who you are and what the season demands. So if you don't like Christmas, know this: you're not alone. There are millions of people quietly enduring a season everyone else seems to love. People who are counting down the days, people who are protecting themselves from overwhelm, from pain, from obligations that drain rather than fulfill. You don't have to love Christmas. You don't have to participate fully. You don't have to feel the magic. You just have to survive it in whatever way works for you, and surviving is enough. Because here's what matters. Not the performance of joy, but actual joy, when and where you find it. Not the obligation of tradition, but connection that feels genuine. Not the season everyone else is having, but the life you're building for yourself. And if that life includes ambivalence or aversion to Christmas, that's okay. You're still whole, you're still worthy, you're still enough. The season will pass, it always does, and you'll make it through. Not by forcing yourself to love what you don't love, but by honoring what you actually need. That's not being a Grinch, that's being honest. And in a season of performance and pretense, honesty is rare. So don't like Christmas if you don't like it. Skip what you need to skip. Feel what you actually feel, and trust that you're not wrong for being different. You're just honest about a season that many people pretend to love while quietly struggling through. And that honesty, that's worth more than all the fake cheer in the world. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.